Osama bin Laden's name has shaped the course of modern history, leaving an indelible mark on global politics, security, and the fight against terrorism. From his rise as the founder of al-Qaeda to his involvement in the September 11, 2001 attacks, bin Laden became a symbol of radical extremism. In this video, we delve into the life and legacy of one of the most infamous figures of the 21st century, exploring how his actions reverberated across the world. Join us on Journey Through Eras as we uncover the complexities of bin Laden's life, his role in shaping global events, and the ongoing impact of his ideology. Early life and formation of beliefs. Osama bin Laden was born on March 10, 1957, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. He hailed from a wealthy and influential family. His father, Mohammed bin Laden, was a successful construction magnate who had close ties with the Saudi royal family. Despite his privileged background, bin Laden became deeply involved in radical Islam from an early age, influenced by his family's conservative religious views and his exposure to Islamic teachings. As a young man, bin Laden was deeply disturbed by the political situation in the Middle East, particularly the involvement of Western powers like the United States in the region. This led him to embrace an extremist interpretation of Islam. In the late 1970s, he traveled to Afghanistan to support the Mujahideen in their fight against the Soviet Union's invasion. It was here that he formed crucial relationships with other radical militants, some of whom would later become key members of al-Qaeda. Founding of al-Qaeda. In the mid-1980s, bin Laden used his personal wealth to fund and supply weapons to the Afghan resistance fighters, hoping to weaken Soviet influence in the region. This period not only cemented his role as a key figure in global jihad, but also provided him with the network of contacts that would be essential in founding al-Qaeda in 1988. Al-Qaeda, which means the base in Arabic, was a militant group created to organize jihad against the United States, Israel, and other perceived enemies of Islam. The group quickly gained notoriety for its attacks on Western targets and its goal of establishing an Islamic caliphate governed by strict Sharia law. Bin Laden's radical ideology was rooted in a belief that the West was corrupt and that Islam needed to return to its purest form. His desire to challenge the authority of secular regimes in the Arab world also led him to target local governments he deemed un-Islamic. Al-Qaeda's tactics involved terrorism, often using suicide bombings, hijackings, and other violent methods to send a message to the world. The 9/11 attacks. The September 11, 2001 attacks in the United States were a defining moment in bin Laden's legacy. The coordinated assault involved the hijacking of 4 commercial airplanes, 2 of which were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. A third plane hit the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., while the fourth crashed into a field in Pennsylvania after passengers attempted to retake control of the aircraft. These attacks killed nearly 3,000 people and caused massive destruction. For bin Laden, the 9/11 attacks were an act of retaliation against U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East, particularly its support for Israel and its military presence in Saudi Arabia. Bin Laden hoped the attack would serve as a wake-up call for the West, demonstrating that al-Qaeda could strike anywhere, anytime. Following the attacks, bin Laden became the world's most wanted man. Despite being linked to the tragedy, he denied direct involvement in the planning of 9/11, although he later took responsibility for the attacks in a video statement. The U.S. government, under President George W. Bush, launched a global war on terror, which led to a decade-long manhunt for bin Laden. Life in hiding. After the U.S. invasion of Afghanistan in 2001, bin Laden went into hiding, managing to evade capture for nearly a decade. He moved between various countries, including Afghanistan, Pakistan, and others, living in remote areas and relying on a small network of loyal supporters to hide and transport him. His ability to remain elusive, despite global efforts to locate him, led to myths and speculations about his whereabouts. During his time in hiding, bin Laden continued to issue messages to his followers, mostly through videotapes or written statements. He remained a prominent symbol of Islamic extremism, despite his decreasing involvement in the day-to-day operations of al-Qaeda. His whereabouts remained a mystery to both the U.S. government and the global intelligence community for many years. Death and legacy. On May 2, 2011, after years of tracking and intelligence gathering, the United States Navy SEALs located bin Laden in a compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. In a covert operation, the SEALs stormed the compound and killed bin Laden. bringing an end to the manhunt that had lasted nearly a decade. His death was a significant victory for the U.S. and its allies in the War on Terror, yet it did not mark the end of al-Qaeda's influence or the global jihadist movement. While bin Laden's death dealt a blow to al-Qaeda, the ideology he promoted lived on through various extremist factions and splinter groups, many of which continued to carry out attacks in his name. Bin Laden's legacy is complex. For many in the Western world, he is remembered as the mastermind behind one of the most devastating terrorist attacks in history. For many in the Middle East and other parts of the world, he was seen as a symbol of resistance against U.S. imperialism and a champion of radical Islamic causes. His death did not erase the deep divisions in the world, and terrorism continues to be a significant global threat. Osama bin Laden's life and actions shaped much of the modern geopolitical landscape, particularly in terms of international relations, counterterrorism, and security policies. His rise to prominence, the destruction wrought by the 9/11 attacks, and his eventual death in 2011 have left an indelible mark on world history. While he is gone, the ideologies and movements he influenced continue to affect global stability, and his legacy remains a reminder of the complexities of global conflict and the war on terror. Though bin Laden is no longer alive, the challenges posed by terrorism, extremism, and ideological violence remain ever present, urging the world to continue working toward peace and understanding. Osama bin Laden's legacy is as divisive as it is enduring, with his influence still felt in many corners of the world. His actions sparked a global war on terrorism, reshaped international security policies, and forever altered the way the world views extremism and jihadism. While bin Laden himself may no longer be alive, the consequences of his vision continue to echo today. Thank you for joining us on this historical journey. Stay tuned to Journey Through Eras for more deep dives into the people and events that have shaped the world we live in today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts with us.